What's up? Look what followed me home from Long McQuaid last night. Marshall MG100 HDFX 100 watt head and a 4x12 cab. Boom, power. Anyways, little backstory. I was actually going after a 15 watt Marshall stack. The mini one, 15 watt head, had reverb at least, which is great. Two 10-inch speakers, like $500 new, right? This is, of course, Canadian prices, Long McQuaid. They had a used one available that they could have brought in for me for about $300 and something. It was actually more than this. As a used amp, the other one was more, and this is like so much more amp for less money. Hey, sometimes you can get more and pay less. What do you know? Anyway, so this is a 2008 model in absolutely cherry condition. You'd think this thing just came out of the wrapper. I mean, it is perfect condition. I couldn't believe it when I saw this thing at the store, and I'm like, no way, that's 2008. Not even scratchy pots anywhere, no scratchy switches. It's clean, clean sound. And I didn't bring my Les Paul with me. I actually played on a left-handed Les Paul that was there, not the same model by any means. And it sounded actually fairly good, you know, and I thought, well, if it sounds this good on a cheaper Les Paul, it should sound awesome on this one, and it actually does, which is good. I've been kind of struggling with my tube amp a little bit with the Les Paul, and I think it's more the speaker than anything that I'm using with the Hughes. But I can use this 4x12 on the Hughes because this is a 16 ohm cab, and my Hughes will run either 8 or 16. So we will do a separate video eventually soon with the Hughes on the Marshall cab to see what it sounds like, and also compare it against the Trainer, which, I mean, the Trainer's definitely going to lose, you know that, right? It's only a 1x12. But anyways, so we do have effects loop in the back. We've got support for 2 cabinets, so 2 plug-in jacks. Also, you've got clean channel. You've got clean and crunch, so you just switch the switch and boom, you're on crunch channel. It's got its own gain control, bass, mid, and treble. It runs off the master volume. Your overdrive channel has a volume and a gain, bass, mid, treble, contour, which is like a mid sweep. And it runs between the master and the main, and I can use the main here to override the master a bit if I need a little bit of extra punch. Now, I have my master basically set on, like, I don't even think it's quite at 1. No, it's not even quite at 1. Like 1 to 10, it's like not even at 1. And I've got my gain here set, actually let's put the gain at around 9 o'clock. 12 o'clock on bass, mids, trebs, same on the overdrive channel. It does have some presets in it for effects, digital effects. It's got delay, chorus, flanger, chorus and delay mix. Your reverb is completely independent, so whether you have the effects turned on or not, your reverb is always on as long as your dial is in one position or another. If it's on 0, well, of course, your reverb is off, and it's a dry signal, which kind of barfs on amps, right? You need a bit of reverb. FX level as well, FX loop mixing control. Very simple, easy to use. Also has FDD, frequency dependent dampening. What that does, according to Marshall's little specs here on the net, is it accurately mimics the way all valve amplifiers interact with a loudspeaker. So it does give you a little tiny bit of boost, and it kind of really rolls out that bass frequency nicer, as well as your mids and trebles get rolled out a little bit nicer too. So that's great. You have a massive amount of control over the gains on both channels. So it's not an overdriven gain. Like if you look at my channel for the 15 watt combo Marshall amp I had, that thing was alright on the clean channel, but on the dirty channel, the gain was just right out of control. I mean, you couldn't do anything with it to get a decent sound, but with a pedal you could, right? Leave it on clean, put a pedal on it, you're alright. This thing, totally controllable, which is awesome. Overdrive 1 and 2. Now, when you have the foot switch hooked in, which this thing did come with the foot switch, it controls switching between your clean channel and your overdrive, and it turns the FX on and off. So for your chorus delay, chorus, and flanger, it switches those on and off. Does not affect the reverb whatsoever. And the reverb, I find, is actually kind of sensitive on this thing. So you gotta kind of, you know, it depends on your taste and what kind of reverb sound you're after, but it is controllable, but sensitive at the same time. So anyway, this channel select switch is bypassed when you have the foot switch hooked in. You will have to manually change between overdrive 1 and 2, and same as clean and crunch, that's a manual switch over. And you do get a hell of a pile more power output when you hit the crunch on the clean channel. So let's give this thing a spin for you guys. We're going to use my 2018 Les Paul Studio. It has 57 Classic and Classic Plus pickups. We're just using the humbucker modes. We're not going to split the coils in this video. It takes too long, but we will go through all three positions. So, starting out with a clean. And man, is this ever clean. I can't believe how clean the sound this thing is. And I'm picky. Both pickups. And just the neck. Okay, so let's put a little bit of chorus in there. And you got full control over the chorus, how much or how little, even with the delay. Chorus and delay mix. And then of course you got your flanger. Turn that stuff off. Now this is full volume on reverb, or full control on reverb, maxed out. So you see you got lots of control. The gains are the same way for distortion and stuff. Lots of control. I like it right about there. Okay, let's go to the crunch channel on the clean. You can tell it's a big, huge boost. Okay, over to the overdrive on overdrive 1. Overdrive 2. You can overdrive the master. My master is like way down here, and this thing is really loud. What you're hearing is not quite as loud as it is in here. It's actually quite loud. Let's put some drums to that. 60 beats per minute. Alright, guys, this amp, it's sick, man. It is totally sick. It totally rocks. I've been learning to rent stuff first from music stores. Well, mainly one I deal with is Long McQuade. So I've been learning to rent stuff from Long McQuade lately before buying it. And I got to tell you, I mean, I only invested $52 to rent this for the month. And it's like, I am definitely going to buy this thing, you know, because if I really like it, they know I'm going to buy it. And I'm pretty bad for that. I mean, I really love my Boss Katana 1x12 I had. It was a nice amp, really it was. Same as my Cube 60, really nice amp. The orange microdark was nice, but you know, I wanted the tube, and it's like, there's always going to be a better amp. There's always going to be some sort of an amp that'll work even more for me. And though I do kind of miss, especially that Boss Katana 100 watt 1x12, I do have the Katana Air, which is all the exact same features anyways, just in a smaller package, right? And I have it actually hooked into my board. I now have a headphone out to, or headphone / line out, record out jack to XLR for my board for the Katana Air, and it works great. I really love it. But this amp here, I mean, this thing just cooks, man. This is no problem if you're gonna gig in big areas, small areas. It's an awesome amp, and you don't even have to mic this thing up. And the fact that it can also support two 4x12 cabs is awesome. You know, and it's got plugins for two, and I'm only using one right now. 100 watts of mayhem, and you know, the more you drop your ohmage too, the more power output you get. But in doing some research on that myself, which I kind of had a feeling anyways from some of my experiments, but this actually confirmed that I was right. If you drop down in ohmage to increase your power output of an amp, though the amp may be designed to handle that lower ohmage, because this one's a minimum of 4 ohms is what it can handle, you increase your wattage, but you also cause a lot more heat up, which can actually wear your amp a lot faster. Like if you're looking at a blowout happening, the lower the ohmage you drop, the faster you can blow out your amp. So you got to kind of be careful. They actually recommend to go with the higher impedance speaker that has the most volume output for that. So like we're getting 100 watts here, 4x12, 16 ohm cab. We're good with that. You know, if I drop down to an 8 ohm setup, I can go 4x12 8, or I can go dual stereo. Basically drop them. There's a lot of combinations, I'll put it to you that way. But either way, you can increase the wattage output, but you start heating things up, which is what happened when I tried to pull that stunt off on a Fender frontman amp. I dropped an 8 ohm load, which normally was what it had, and dropped it to a 4, and then I took it as low as a 3, and I noticed a lot of heat up, but I also noticed a lot more power output too, which was kind of nice. But that amp wasn't made to handle it. This thing can actually handle as low as 4 ohms, which is great. But I think I'd leave it just as is, because, I mean, come on guys, I'm only at not even 1 here. You know, from 0 to 1, I'm not even on the 1, and this thing is obnoxious in here. So that's great, and a lot of that does make a difference with the amount of speakers and air volume and, you know, all that to give you that output. But still, it's an awesome amplifier, and I think that if you're looking for something to match well with a Les Paul, probably even your SG or pretty much any humbucker guitar, depending on the humbuckers, of course, should match up really well with this amp. I mean, this is a 2018 Les Paul Studio with the 57 Classics, and it's a great match with this amp, like just incredible. The tones I'm able to get out of the Marshall, I can't get that with the Hughes, at least not with the Trainer, so I will try the Hughes with this cab, with the Les Paul, to see, because I was having an annoying sound on the Hughes with the Trainer when I was doing, like, especially at the higher volume levels. It made like a grumble type of sound when I would, you know, I didn't like it. My buddy thought it was cool, I didn't, because I like to keep it clean. Now I can do that on the clean channel on the Hughes, but on the dirty channel, that would make that weird sound, and I don't like that, and I'm not getting that weird sound on this amp, so that's actually really good. So I put this thing at an easy 4.5 out of 5. It's amazing. Like, forget how old it is. It's 10 years old. Forget the price. It's only cost me $328 out the door. Forget the price. Features, awesome. Gold face, love it. Marshall should go back to the gold face, because I think that was a more popular face than silver. But also they need to go back in time a little bit and not be so much into these modeling amp stuff. But these little built-in effects are not a bad idea. They're actually quite nice to have. I have a chorus pedal, which is great, but now I have built-in chorus here, which I can use or not use, and I can just on and off, just like I would with a chorus pedal anyway. The reverb is great, very controllable. All the effects, like the gains and the volumes, everything is so nice and sensitive, but also so nice and controllable. I've played on several Marshall amps, and I gotta tell you that so far this one is my favorite, next to, oh, what was the name of that one? It's a DS, I think it's a DSL. I'm probably getting the code wrong, but it was a 40, I think it was a 30 or 40 watt tube combo amp. I really liked that one. It was a really nice amp, very nice and controllable, nice rich sound to it, but a lot of this, you know, a lot of bucks. This is solid state, so I'm not worried about tubes. And I got to thinking too, when I was going to buy another amp, I already have an all-tube amp. I don't want another all-tube amp, other than I might want a combo one that has some modeling stuff in it maybe, but otherwise no. I'm quite fine with my Hughes. So I wanted my next one to be solid state, and like I said, I was after that 15 watt Marshall mini stack, and even for a used one was more money than this, and it's like, this is so much more, and it is such a beautiful match, you know. And I did more research on videos, and I thought, well, you know, there's a lot of videos on all these amps. There's a lot of videos on this one too, and I like to listen to the person's playing style, how they're playing it, what they're actually presenting to us in the video as well when I'm looking at gear, like any of you guys would, you know. And I get very discouraged by videos that have amplifiers mic'd up, whether it's professional music store doing it, or some gearhead doing it, or just some Joe Blow that mics up their stuff. I really don't like the mic'd up kind of deal when it comes to showing off something. I want to give you guys a more fuller, rounded out sound with the acoustics of this room, and going right direct into either my Apex 555 mic, or I'll go into, right now we're using my camcorder, which is a JVC camcorder with stereo mics. It's not the best camcorder in the world. It is getting older. I do have to buy a new one, but you know, it still does a really awesome job for representing the truest sound to a certain point. The truest sound and best sound, let me tell you, is sitting in this room with me. You know, you would really like it in here. It's just such a nice acoustics in this room. It's really nice, and this thing sounds just awesome, and it is a lot louder for me than what you're hearing through the video. No matter how high you jack the volume on your computer, you're going to get a really good representation, but I mean, it's awesome in this room. It's great, you know. So the next thing I want to do is get an acoustic pedal for this amp and try that out. So I think I'm going to rent the Boss acoustic pedal when I get a chance and try that out on this amp and see what the acoustic mimics of the Boss pedal are with the Les Paul as well as my other guitars. Stay tuned too for more videos with this guitar, or sorry, not with the guitar, with the amp, with my other guitars, so you can hear what it sounds like on different guitars. But in the meantime, hey, if you're not subbed, smash that subscribe button, smash the bell to get updates to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. I have a lot more stuff coming in the next little bit, and we'll have a lot of fun. And of course, we'll have a video with the Hughes on the 4x12 cab too. So anyways, thanks, and catch you on the next one. Ciao.